Bienvenidos a la ceremonia de premiación.
Welcome to the awards ceremony for Superheroes of Development 2024.
Award Ceremony. Bem-vindos à cerimônia de premiação dos Super-Heróis do Desenvolvimento 2024. We invite you to enjoy this celebration and to focus your attention on the people who make the projects financed by the IDB Group possible. Today, we will follow this thread, a thread of learning that will guide us throughout this experience. We want you to learn about the stories of our heroes, our executing agencies and clients. They are the reason we're here today. Luz, David, would you like to tell us how this will be organized? And again, welcome to the 2024 Superheroes of Development Awards Ceremony.
Welcome everyone joining us today, both in this auditorium and also online. My name is Luz Ángela Garcia.
And I'm David Cepeda, and we will be your hosts for this exciting experience we've crafted specifically for you.
This is the 7th edition of Superheroes of Development, an initiative that recognizes the exceptional work of our clients and counterparts, a space to reward how they successfully tackle difficult and complex challenges.
And created lasting impacts. Since we launched this initiative, our superheroes have been notable in applying and systematizing lessons learned in our operations.
And also other projects have been replicating those lessons learned. This year we have teams from Bolivia, Brazil, Colombia,
Guatemala, and Honduras. And each one truly admirable.
Let's also welcome our exceptional IDB Group team members of the jury. Mr. Jordan Schwartz, our Executive Vice President.
Ana María Ibáñez, our Vice President for Sectors Acknowledged.
Anabel González, our Vice President for Countries.
Irene Arias Hoffman, our CEO of IDB Lab.
James Scriven, our CEO of IDB Invest.
And Alexandre Rosa, our General Manager of the Office of Strategic Planning and Development Effectiveness. We know all of you will have a difficult task today, so good luck, everyone.
Indeed, David. It will be a challenge to select 2 winners among these 5 incredible finalists. Now let's welcome Ana María Ibáñez to formally kick off this event.
Over to you, Ana María.
Good afternoon to everyone. I'm really pleased to be here with all of you and proud of your achievements. First, let me give you a warm welcome to all the finalists. They are really the true stars of today's Superheroes of Development event. Please give them a big round of applause. And to the 5 teams, congratulations. Congratulations on reaching this stage. Your path has been rewarding yet challenging. Rewarding because of the outcomes you've achieved and the lives you've changed for the better. And this is ultimately what we want to do at the IDB Group. And I say challenging because of development projects often encounter difficult obstacles during implementation. These obstacles can put at risk execution, making the project fall short of the positive impacts we are trying to achieve. We are gathered together here to hear your stories, to learn from your operational experiences. Superheroes of Development is about more than celebrating the outstanding work of executing teams. It is about identifying and sharing the most significant lessons that emerged from these projects. These lessons will improve the design of future initiatives. These lessons will help us adjust course for projects already underway. This is what we call, at the IDB Group, the feedback loop between knowledge and operations. What we aim to do is learn and learn from these lessons to achieve greater effectiveness, higher impact, broader reach, and ultimately improve more lives. Think about how transformative knowledge can be when it's shared, when we allow others to learn what somebody already knows. When a team understands the challenges others have faced or relies on evidence like lessons learned, it can anticipate similar obstacles and design activities that help prevent delays. Sharing innovative solutions can spare others from starting from scratch. Learning from someone else's mistakes means a more efficient use of human, technical, and financial resources. This results in, of course, better outcomes, both in terms of times as well as impacts. Ultimately, what we are talking about here is transforming the realities of millions of people across Latin America and the Caribbean. And improving lives through impactful development projects is what we do at the IDB Group. We do this together with our member countries, and we do it thanks to executing teams like you, the 5 that are front and center today. These teams, all of you, were selected from around 149 submissions received from all 26 borrowing member countries. You should be proud of what you've achieved, given this record number of applications. Without further ado, I invite you to be inspired by these stories from Bolivia, Colombia, Guatemala, Brazil, and Honduras. We've prepared a sensory journey through the region for this. We hope you enjoy it. Welcome, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Ana Maria. Thank you so much for your kind words and for being part of Superheroes of Development ever since you joined the IDB.
Bueno, empezamos. Ahora queremos escuchar al equipo de Bolivia.
Now we're going to listen to the team from Bolivia. This is a project on water and sanitation. This was implemented by the Ministry of Environment and Water Resources. So these are the key concepts: empowerment, inclusion, and replicability.
Hasta Guardia. Y yo vi allá todo como era, ¿no? Las compañeras ahí recogían lata, recogían cobre, vendían ellos semanal y se hacían las fichitas, hacían 500, 400. Bueno, y cuando yo fui también, hice. Se trabajaba todo ahí, al aire libre, el sol. Todos sufríamos ahí, ¿no? Sufríamos de sed, sufríamos de todo. Un día me aparece cuando estaba el señor alcalde, él me habla y me dice, ¿qué sugiere usted si esto se va a modificar? Y yo estaba recogiendo lata, yo le dije, está bien, bueno. Era un proyecto de no creer. Todo iba a ser un cambio para nosotros, ¿no? Bueno, acá la tarea, el trabajo que hacemos es prensar los bimbos, recoger los materiales que ocupamos, ¿no ves? Trabajamos bajo de sombra, tenemos el agua y así hemos venido.
That's how we've been working. I also like that. I liked it because they've come to pick me up at my house to do this. And we've done it. Well, the day that Mariluz received the call informing her that her husband had suffered a terrible accident and would not be able to go back to work, her life changed forever. And that began a journey that she would become a major player in a story that would impact on her family and her community. So what was she going to do now? How would she be able to provide for her children and feed her children? She didn't have time to answer those questions. when she went, for example, to the dump. And as we said, at the beginning was not easy, but over time, she learned about recycling as a business. She also learned to include 50 women and 2 men into this business. She was the voice. She knew it all. This is no good. This is useful. So what's the price we charge for this, and how are we going to do this? But one day, everything changed. The mayor announced that the Wandes dump was going to be closed because they were going to build the first solid waste treatment facility with the support of the Ministry of Environment and Water Resources and the IDB. So a lot of questions came to mind. What are we going to do? Said Mariluz. Everything had looked good, and now she started thinking, how am I going to support myself? So the Warnes dump was a facility that provided for 52 families, $70 a month was their income. So Mariluz began with asking the executing group to see how some of her colleagues some of them could be a part of that project. So she became a key bridge establishing communication between the community of recyclers and the executive group. So they developed together strategies to see exactly how they could generate income based on recycling efforts. So through the social inclusion plan, the recyclers developed strategies together in order to formally implement these efforts in recycling. But it was through a sound and renowned partnership, just like the colleagues who launched enterprises with the support of the program. So that base was crucial for launching the project. We have mainly worked with that feeling of self-confidence, with self-esteem, and we've been able to get these women to be recognized. Their value as the head of household. Mariluz had 20 women. Together with 20 women, they created this partnership where they signed their first contract with the municipal government for sweeping and cleaning. And she was also able to develop a business that would separate and recycle waste. Her colleagues also received seed capital in order to implement businesses that included beauty parlors, food sales, and stores. So the most important thing about this is that they've been able to triple their monthly income levels. And as we can see, Mariluz, a shy woman, became a leader in her community in Riberalta, located in the middle of the Bolivian Amazon. She went from being an informal recycler to be the director of the office or business involving recycling efforts. The problem is still long from being resolved, far from that. In Bolivia, 8,300 tons of waste is generated in Bolivia. Only 8% is recycled. 32% are sent to these dump sites, and 72% are found on the streets, small dumps, or as these open landfills. So what can we do to reverse the situation? How can we learn from the Guaranes experience? So we can't waste any time. I'm sure Mariluz is already thinking about how she can share her experiences and help motivate others so that they can also benefit from these changes. So we need to bring together the efforts of each and every one because the task at hand is urgent, and nobody knows better about the need to deal with urgencies than Marila. Thank you, Carla, and congratulations on this project. We're now very pleased to introduce the team from Colombia. This project has to do with natural resources implemented by the this project is focused on preserving protected areas and conflict resolution and profound respect for the needs of the local community as well.
Como Bari hemos sabido cómo manejar el medio ambiente.
We know how to manage this without harming Mother Nature, to harness its potential. We started a process, and well, we had to contact the property owners and talk to them about the benefits of the program by reforesting the banks that the river was eroding because it had all been damaged. The goal was basically focused on halting the deforestation of ecosystem in environmentally important areas because we're destroying nature. We're ruining our resources, including water resources. For us as farmers, this means improving our living conditions. The idea isn't to stop there, but to spread all the knowledge that we've been given across the entire region. We want this partnership to grow, for it to become a company that can create employment for people in the community and beyond. We're also teaching a beautiful lesson, which is that we have a lot to gain from caring for the environment. Well, everything looked so rosy. Are we really going to be doing an environmental program in these conditions? Well, national parks prioritize for developing the project. Catatumbo and Paramillo, even though they're beautiful locations with beautiful forests, with a wide diversity, there's also an area where a lot of armed groups are involved, illegal groups, anti-personnel mines, and where you have highly vulnerable communities living there that have suffered from the effects of conflict. And coca cultivation was the only source of income. So the next step was to go out into the fields, and we went to a place called Nagabarra, which is about 7 hours away from the closest airport, under very daunting and terrible conditions. It was a very difficult day. My colleagues and I, we felt the tensions in the environment. We would walk down streets and people would look at us. It was obvious that we were not from there. There had been a armed conflict earlier, and I remember I was thinking at night in the hotel, I thought to myself, what have I gotten myself into? Are we really doing an environmental project with so many tensions? A lot of uncertainties were felt, especially because I have 2 teenage children at home. And I was thinking, even though I love my work, my job, I love what I do, if something happens to me, that's going to have a major impact on my children. So you're always concerned about the safety of your family and yourself. So with that fear, we visited the director of the Catatumbo Park. The park directors are very unique. They're people who are committed. They are almost like they're from another planet. That's what you need to do in order to address so many of the challenges. In Colombia, the only presence sometimes of the government is with the park directors, with a few resources, a few human resources as well, to cover such an extensive area. Just imagine, Catatumbo has 160,000 hectares in size, which is twice the size of New York City. But when I talked to him, I felt reassured. And at the meeting, we talked about what can be done in order to reach out to those communities that have coca plots. And now we're going in with an environmental project. The only option was to be frank and say, look, You play a fundamental role in preserving these territories. We cannot compete with what you earn from coca cultivation. But is that what you really want for your children? And during that same visit, we met a child from the indigenous community, only 10 years old. And I was asked, what did you study? I said, I'm a forestry ranger. And I was so surprised by the answer. Diego said that he wanted to be a chemical engineer in order to manufacture purer coca. And I thought about Santiago, my child. Is that what I want for my child, for my sons? So the major challenge was even greater than what we thought. And this project, I think by being so frank, it helped to motivate people and to start building confidence and trust in the project so that we allow them to ask what they want to do. What do they need to do in order to stop deforestation and growing more coca? So we looked at different alternatives. We signed 29 agreements, marketing agreements, in order to address the needs of 600 people. And there was another major change, and that is that the communities stopped receiving income from coca, and they began to receive income from eggs, from peppers. And another major plus was that the communities began to establish a very different relationship with the National Parks Department. Now they had more trust in the state. Now they were a part of the region's development, and they knew that parks could help them in this effort. All of this has given sustainability to those 80 agreements of park conservation that were signed and the 160,000 hectares of land that we've impacted. And there's something else. Diego Dora, the child of the indigenous community, he no longer wants to grow coca. Now he has much bigger dreams. He wants to be a park director of Catatumba in order to protect the parks, the culture, to leave these parks for future generations. I also underwent a change. Although the pressures in Catatumbo persist, to be in contact with the communities, to have built these bonds of trust make me feel different. So now I no longer am fearful. Now I feel as if I'm at home. Thank you. Very inspiring effort. And now it's Guatemala's turn. And this is an infrastructure project of IDB Invest on sustainable development. And it's not just an issue of construction and processes. It's an issue that focuses on transparency and confidence building. My name is Marbeli Velázquez. I'm one of the beneficiaries of the Las Flores corridor. I used to live precisely where the highway was going to pass through. The house that I had was small and unfinished. That meant that it would flood every time it rained. And when Florecer came and gave me my new home, it was amazing. I was so happy. It has everything that my other little house didn't have. Drains, water, electricity, everything. Thank you. Thank God we're just a small family, my son and I, so that the house has enough space for the two of us. I keep saying this is marvelous. It was a radical change, but important in my life. It was a step forward instead of backwards, and I'm happy, very happy, because I also have a job thanks to this. And I can imagine that things will be much better in the future. In addition to benefiting me, it benefits my child and my mom, so I'm happy with that.
Marbeli Velázquez es una de las
Marbeli Velasquez is one of the beneficiaries of Sochi, one of millions of people who are going to be benefited by this project, because the impact of Sochi goes much further than what you've seen in this video. Sochi is going to impact millions of people throughout Guatemala, because what moves us, what convinces us, is that all the way from the Mayas through to other empires, all the way to today, infrastructure always comes before development. But in countries like Guatemala, the path towards developing infrastructure is plagued with obstacles. It's very difficult, and that's why Sochi is so important. Now, Sochi is the result of an obstacle along the way that my family and I experienced. It might seem ironic, but one weekend, we went out to a recreation spot some 180 kilometers away from the city. Usually you can travel that in about 2 hours, but we were at the 140th kilometer. It had been some 3 hours and 40 minutes of travel. My daughters were yanking their hair out, wondering when we would arrive, and I would tell them, girls, don't worry, we've only got another 40 kilometers left. We'll get there in 30 minutes. I put on Waze. It says 40 kilometers in 3 hours. I said, no, it can't possibly be. This device has lost its mind. And it seems like, yeah, the device itself was wrong. It ended up being 4 hours. So imagine, nearly 7 hours of travel for 180 kilometers. But it's not just a problem I deal with. Thousands of Guatemalans deal with this every single day because of the poor state of roads and traffic in our country. So, in the traffic jam, I grab my phone, I call up a colleague and tell him what's going on. I say, Luis Pedro, we have to find a solution to this problem. We can't have 60% of the country's economy, our GDP, our regional trade stuck in traffic like this. It can't possibly be. So we resolved to do something about it. We took to the countryside a week later, and we started grappling with one of the hardest parts of this project, figuring out who all the owners were of the land that we would have to buy it back from. In a country like Guatemala, doing that's really hard because you don't have a whole directory of that information. Many people don't have deeds for their properties. There are large properties, small properties. It's hard to reach that kind of end goal. And with this kind of a problem, you come to understand that 99% isn't enough. You need 100% of all that. You have to buy the land off of those people in order to do the job at all. So we started hiring people from one location to another, and slowly we were able to put the puzzle pieces together. We put a board together and we said, all right, we've got the mosaic of all the landowners. We have to start buying it so that the project goes from just a dream to reality. And one of my directors said, okay, it's a really nice project. I think it's going to have a great impact, but there's a lot of risk if we buy this land. We have to get consent from all of those landowners first, and then we can start buying it. Knowing the idiosyncrasies that I would have to grapple with, I grabbed my head and I said, okay, this is not going to be easy. And so I started talking to them. People said either I get cash or you're giving me stocks in the project. We were really at a dead end. And then I came up with an idea that nearly cost me my marriage. I had some savings with my wife. I took the money without telling her. I said to one of my partners, buy the first 3 properties because we need to get this ball rolling. We did that. I arrived with my board. I tell them what I did. They slapped me a little bit on the wrist. But from there they said, look, Carlos, if you're willing to invest your savings in this, you've got the green light for us to start buying that land. Now, you do have to do this in a differentiated fashion, and that's how Sochi comes about. And I was given a refund, or I was reimbursed my money, and as you can see, I'm still married. So we started work on the project. We wanted Sochi to be different. It's the first project in Latin America that's sustainable and climate change resistant that I think is of particular importance in Guatemala because we are one of the first 10 countries in the world affected by climate change. And unfortunately, we are one of the 10 worst off countries when it comes to infrastructure quality at a global level. We have to build 2,000 kilometers of roadway every year for the next 20 years if we want to bridge the gap. And right now, we're going at 200 kilometers. We're trying to accelerate this by 100%. We're trying to accelerate it 100 times. We're trying to show that you can build infrastructure in an efficient and sustainable way. And on the other side, we're trying to show that there's no point in building something that's not resistant to climate change, which is a challenge we have to face. Also, we have over 100 investors, 400 grant delivers, and that's how the project started making its way forward. We are about to sign for the loan in a week. We have 99%, or we were a week away from signing the loan with the bank, and we were about to hit 100% of all the land we needed, but suddenly a woman calls and says, "Look, I don't think I'm going to sell you my land." But that was a prerequisite to sign with the banks, or with the bank. And so we bought her a ticket so that she could go to Guatemala. We took her on site. And when she realized the impact that that land had on development for the project and therefore on her own country, we were able to sign, and we managed to achieve the 100% we needed of all that land. And I think the message is that saying impossible is just not an option. You can't consider it an option to discard a possibility. You have to fight and fight and fight to the very end. And although Sochi is a private solution to a public problem, we're sure that this is going to inspire many future projects, thanks to the support of central actors like IDB Invest. And that's why whenever you come to Guatemala, we ask you to visit Sochi. We're sure that you'll be surprised. You will be pleasantly surprised. And you will thank us for having achieved this goal. Thank you so much, Carlos, and congratulations. Now, we want to invite the Brazil team. This pitch will be delivered in Portuguese. For those who need interpretation, there is simultaneous interpretation available. This is an IDB lab project launched by the Brazilian Institute for Development and Sustainability. This is an incredible story. We learn about circular economies, and we saw what was considered waste and pollution being used for artwork and other useful purposes.
Eu sou Graziella.
I'm Graziella Felix Santo. I'm 23 years old, and I have 3 children. I have been fishing since I was a little girl. I always worked with the sururu mussel whenever I got a chance. The work is actually wonderful. I would see that the work that I do today, I'm very pleased to see how this is going, because today we can exchange these shells for money, and that is made it possible for us to provide what we need for our homes. And so we know that we can exchange this. I can buy bread with this. I can buy diapers with this money and food. And my biggest dream of my life was to have my own home. And thank goodness I've already built it. That was the biggest dream I ever had, to have my own things, have my home. I don't have a whole lot because I'm a single mother and I prioritize my children. I put my kids first. If I ever feel like giving up, I just look back and I see that there are three faces that stand out, my children. And I look at them and I say to myself, I am going to do this. Not now, not immediately, but I trust that in the future I will achieve this. This is what we call the kobogo. It's a vintage brick. It's not just for decoration or for lining your houses. This is a part of a process that has changed people's lives in the communities of the northeast of Brazil. About a kilometer away from the beautiful beaches of Maceió, many families live selling a small maço from the Mundao Lagoon, Sururu. It's a hard work. It's a very difficult life. Until not so long ago, the source, that is the shells of the Sururu, was a big environmental problem. If you just look, how many shells are just piling up? And we asked ourselves, how are we going to solve this environmental problem? But beyond that, how can we actually improve people's lives, the lives of these families? After a lot of work, a lot of time went by, what we saw was that these shells of the Sururu maço that were just thrown out in the streets could themselves become raw material for very innovative products. That was when Graziela's lives and the lives of many other Sururu collectors became changed, and working together with these shells to, at the community level, working with these shells, we were able to transform this area by producing this brick, which is done with the largest siding or construction building company, and working not just by building these bricks, but other construction materials. And selling these products creates income, sustainability, and dignity for the community. Other communities can do the same thing, not just overcome an environmental problem, but mostly just to change people's lives. And that's what we started doing in other communities in the Amazon region. Now, what was started as a simple question, what can we do with all of these Sururu mussel shells? That left a legacy of transformation. An example of this, and with innovative ideas and working together, you can change people's lives in a dignified and sustainable way. And that is Graziela's story of Dona Gelea and many other of the Sururu fisher people. And that picture is of Graziela.
Obrigado, Tadeo. Parabéns.
Y hemos llegado a nuestro último.
Thank you, Tadeo. Congratulations. We now have our next participant from Honduras, and we will close the presentations with Honduras. This was carried out by the Unit of Strategic Projects for the Solidarity Network. With this project, we've learned about flexibility, adaptation, and innovating without digitizing. My name is Celine Ariel Quintanilla. I am from Yaraconta, Cucuyacua. I'm in the 9th grade. My teacher Perla tutors me. She has taught me a lot about math and Spanish. She taught me to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. And she taught me new words in Spanish that I had never known about previously. I asked my mom to sign me up for tutoring. I didn't want to go to school before, and now I do. My name is Itzin Nanyeni Guerra. I'm from Hacienda Grande in Cupon Ruinas. I'm in the 7th grade. The tutoring has been very helpful to me because it has strengthened my skills in math, Spanish, and natural sciences. Most importantly, they've explained multiplication and division to me in great detail. I hope that this will be very helpful to me in the upper grades. This is the first time we've been the beneficiaries of a tutoring project. Thank you. I've always loved to win. I've loved winning my whole life, and these testimonies are the best reward possible. My parents were teachers in a very beautiful rural area, and they taught me that the best way to help someone is by sharing knowledge with them. And that's why when I met Carmen Gomez, I heard a call I could not ignore. I went out with my team from I went out with my team to Olancho, sort of in the middle of nowhere, and we were planning on evaluating the level of education and how it had been affected by the pandemic. And when we showed up in the classroom, everybody got really excited except for Carmen. We provided the diagnostic guides. We were going to do our assessment, and I see Carmen that she's over in a corner, and she wasn't even looking at the document. And I approached her and asked, "Is everything okay?" She looked right at me, and she burst into tears. She says, "I can't read." I got goosebumps because I saw the reality of so many Honduran children in rural areas in her eyes. The pandemic ripped through the education system there. Children in these regions were already behind, and now more than 600,000 students were deprived of an education. The thing is that in these regions, you don't have practically any technology. We wanted to have an impact on some 3,000 children, but we managed to impact the lives of over 5,700 in the educational space. And we faced lots of challenges because lots of these kids work with their parents harvesting coffee. And so the teachers would go out to the fields with the children, and the kids, without even realizing, were counting the coffee grains and learning to count as they did so, and they improved their language abilities. Without a doubt, this was a huge effort, so much sacrifice, but it was all worth it. Now, I'm here with you all, and this is the reward of joint effort. Wherever we go in Honduras, there's a Carmen waiting for us to help them gain the knowledge they need to get ahead and come out winning, like I've always loved doing.
Thank you so much, Emily, and congratulations.
Well, we reached the end of the pitches. And now our jury faces the difficult task of selecting two winners, which, as Ana Maria mentioned, will be based on
having executed the projects easily and effectively, demonstrating creativity and innovation in tackling the challenges they were presented with.
Challenges such as shifting priorities, government transitions, staff changes, and resource limitations.
And although only two winners will be selected today, everyone who made it here out of 149 applications is already a superhero. And each of them has left us with some superpowers.
That's right, David. They're lessons learned.
Absolutely. So we kindly ask for 5 minutes to give our jury the time they need to finish deliberating and making this extremely difficult decision.
Over to you. The jury has made its decision.
And we have our president, Ilan Goldfein, to join us for the awards.
Welcome, President Wolfgang.
So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm very happy to be here to celebrate the superheroes of development. It's a privilege to welcome you to the IDB, learn from your experiences, and most importantly, celebrate your incredible achievements in support of improving lives in our region. As you know, this initiative celebrates the trailblazers, agencies, clients who have tackled challenges, shown resilience and innovation, and made a tangible impact through IDB-supported projects. At the center of this initiative is our focus on lessons learned, best practices, and knowledge. This is what sets us apart as a knowledge bank. And how can we make a difference on the ground? So, I want to take a moment to congratulate all our finalists today. They come from Bolivia, from Brazil, from Colombia, from Guatemala, and the last one you heard from Honduras. Let's give them a round of applause. Well deserved. Your work underscores that the most valuable lessons often come during project implementation when challenges arise or risks become real. But your experiences also make clear that these challenging moments bring creative ideas to life, enhancing efficiency, effectiveness, and the impact of our work. Allow me to briefly highlight the powerful lessons you have shared today. Let's start with Bolivia. La unidad coordinadora del programa de agua.
Bolivia, with the water and sewage project.
Created solutions with waste collectors directly to produce income-generating alternatives based on their own needs and expectations, rather than just imposing ideas, designs from behind a desk. Second one, Colombia. ACDI, VOCA, which is the Agricultural Cooperative Development International, volunteers and oversees corporate assistance. This is a nice project partner with the natural park communities, enabling local families to become key players in sustainable rural development. This allowed them to be not only beneficiaries, but also key stakeholders responsible for protecting their environment. Brazil, Instituto Brasileiro de Desenvolvimento e Sustentabilidade, the project partner with the private sector, specifically Porto Belo, Brazil's largest ceramic tile company, to scale up the commercial use of cobogó, which is a brick made from suyu shell waste used in construction for ventilation and natural light. Each month, 300 tons of suyu shells, a regionally culinary staple and part of Alagoas' intangible heritage, are discarded. Guatemala, Fondo BPS. Yeah. The project developed a wide range of approaches, such as strengthening ties with the community, offering owners the chance to become shareholders in the project, and hiring local workers to secure the land needed to construct Hochi, the Flower Road, a world-class 31-kilometer highway. Last but not least, Honduras, Unidad de Proyectos Estratégicos de la Red Solidaria. The project provided for mobile in-person classrooms, together with using basic technology like phone calls, to recover learning for children whose studies were impacted by the pandemic. Our finalists have demonstrated that practical lessons learned for development effectiveness can enhance our future projects. By sharing these lessons, we enhance project design and execution and contribute to evidence-based policymaking. In our new institutional strategy, Strategy Plus, we have committed to investing more in knowledge to strengthen our position as the knowledge bank of the region, sharing insights from both successes and challenges, and empowering countries to design and implement solutions inspired by best practices. The impact we seek, improving lives, comes from learning from these experiences, sharing the knowledge we gain. And of course, none of this would be possible without the dedication and innovation of people like you, our superheroes. Thank you once again to all our finalists for your dedication to improving lives across the region. I encourage everyone here today to learn from these lessons and use them to inspire and inform our work. We are about to hear the judge's decision. But first, let's give a well-deserved round of applause for each of the panelists. You have done all incredible work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Goldfein. Thank you, superheroes. And Lorena Rodriguez, our division chief, will give you the envelope.
And the winner is Honduras, Unidad de Proyectos Estratégicos de la Red Solidaria.
We have two winners, so there's another one in the envelope.
Of course. Sí, por favor, please. Felicitaciones. Qué bueno, felicitaciones. Métanlos los oídos. Que vengan los otros.
Es suyo, jefe. Es suyo. Es suyo, es suyo.
Felicitaciones. Qué bueno.
Muchas gracias.
No, gracias a usted. Vengan.
Ay, hola, hola.
Hola, Gonzalo. Very good. Felicitaciones. But that's not all. We have another one. Just one more. And the winner is Colombia. A CDI Roca.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Felicitaciones. Muy bien. Y vamos.
¿Va bien?
Ahí están.
One, two, and...
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very good.
Pues ya, termina. Ya termina.
Sí, Mr. President.
Dale.
Dale, tú.
Sí. All teams, all superheroes, but every team, can you please join us on stage for a group photo?
And with the jury, no?
Huh?
With the jury.
Members of the jury, can you please join
With
us
the
for
jury,
a photo?
please join us. For a group
Equipo de
photo.
Guate, de Honduras, de Bolivia,
Es súper
de
rápido,
Colombia,
súper rápido.
todos.
Mira por tu
Sí.
esposa.
Felicitaciones, hermano.
Es un segundo. Sí. Mira, Mr. President. Sí.
Qué bien, gracias a ti por todo.
Gracias. No,
Gracias por todo.
el de Brasil de Sururu es espectacular también. No, muchas gracias.
All right, 1, 2, and perfect. One more. Thank you.
Ya que fueron todos.
Yeah.
See you in 2020.
Thank you so much, everyone. See you next year.
See you 2025. Thank you so much.
Gracias, Irene.
Muchas gracias.